Camden National Bank is celebrating 150 years of supporting the communities of Maine and New Hampshire. And it's all thanks to you. From one location in Camden to 72 banking centers today, our journey has only been possible because of your trust and loyalty. One thing that remains constant is our commitment to giving back, from supporting local businesses at Autumn Gold in Ellsworth, sponsoring the Seaside series in Stonington, to helping the elderly at Acadia Senior College. We're grateful to have this vibrant community be part of our story. And thank you to our partners, Down East Famous, that's celebrating the people who make this region so special. Here's to the next 150 years together.
Welcome to the Down East Famous podcast. I'm your host, April Shaw-Beaudoin, and I am joined by my co-host, Jena Young, a hospitality entrepreneur here in Bar Harbor. And this is our first episode of the season. So in an effort to let you learn a little bit more about us, we'll be taking you through the whole season. I'm going to interview Jena, and Jena's going to interview me. So it's a little bit different than the rest of the episodes. And I'm going to let Jena ask some of the first questions.
Yes, I'm so excited because I have gotten to know you through this whole process. I'm so grateful that you asked me to be a part of this Down East Famous journey, at least the podcast. And I want people to get to know you. We're here in my hometown, and I just find your story so interesting and some of the advice you have for small businesses so interesting. So you and your husband, Buck, own a branding and digital strategy agency called Omnitizing. And in addition to that, you created Camden Famous and now Down East Famous. This all has one common thread, which really serves small businesses in our state. And I'd love to hear about where that spark for small business came from.
That is such a great question. Thank you for asking it. So one, I am a fifth generation Mainer. I love Maine. I didn't always love it. I grew up kind of on a makeshift farm in Gorham, Maine. And the second I could get out of the state, I did. I was 20 years old. I moved to Boston. I went to school at UMass Boston. I worked in the financial district in town. My first job was at Boston.com, like really soon after it launched from just being the paper. And that was thrilling for me for a while. And then it became very overstimulating. And so I learned a lot while I was in Boston, and I learned about how to serve in a marketing and branding role for small businesses. But I was working with Google and Amazon, and Buck's background is working with Fortune 100 companies. But we both knew that all the things we were doing for these giant corporations could also work to serve small businesses. And so we have Omnitizing, and we help small businesses with their branding and marketing. And one of the other things that we learned when we moved to the Mid-Coast was that the Mid-Coast has no idea what branding and marketing is. And not only do they not know about it, they don't want to know about it. So that was,
challenge.
That was a little bit tricky to try to have our business in the Mid-Coast and do well when there was kind of that opposition. So Buck and I were like, all right, we were trying to figure out what to do in the Mid-Coast, and there wasn't a central place to do that. And we were like, why don't we show the Mid-Coast what marketing and branding is and what it can do? And that's how Camden Famous came to be. And so the two things that I think are really important is one, it's aligned for me personally as a Mainer. I really want to see Maine businesses do well. And in the state of Maine, the Small Business Association, even just last year, said 99.2% of businesses in Maine are small businesses.
Wow.
Which is crazy, that percentage. And so many of them are single owner operators. So people are practicing the craft, and then they're also trying to run a business, which there's a million things to do outside of what you're doing. And marketing and branding rarely gets on the list of priorities. So Camden Famous and Down East Famous helps people get their business out in front of an audience that they wouldn't ordinarily have. We just hit 10K followers on Instagram for Camden Famous. We're at about 2,500 for Down East Famous right now. I see that number really ballooning over the next year.
Wow. Yeah, you're proving that people are ready for this.
Mhm.
And as a small business owner, you hit the nail on the head where oftentimes it's one person doing so many different things. And the branding and marketing doesn't feel like the most vital, but it is in so many ways. It's
It
the
is.
backbone and it's what will drive people to your business. So we've enjoyed working with you all
Mhm.
and seeing the traffic that we get and the recognition that we get.
Mhm.
And it's been a really fun process.
One of the other things that I know from having a marketing background is
Mhm.
that the most compelling content out there is story driven. And so we are able to come in with Camden Famous and Down East Famous and tell the stories
Mhm.
behind the businesses. And it also gives the small business owner a chance to be recognized in a way that they don't usually get recognized elsewhere.
And that is so much of what this podcast is about, is having long form or longer form conversations with business owners and hearing the actual stories behind what they do, why they do it, how they do it. I'm so excited to do this.
Mm.
I'm so lucky because I know you on a personal level and you are the face of your business and you're outgoing and you go to all of these events, but you're actually an introvert.
Mhm.
And we've talked a lot about your businesses, but on a more personal level, what do people sometimes assume about you and then later find out isn't true?
I think because a lot of my business is online. I mean, I'm not a restaurant owner. I don't have all these servers that I'm managing. Almost everything that I do gets posted.
Mm.
And so that's a difference than a lot of other business owners. So people think that I'm so busy, and I am consumed by this work. It's very meaningful for me and my brain never turns off from it. But I'm also usually at home, at 5 p.m. Buck and I are watching a movie, we're ordering takeout, we're just very low key. And I think I've heard from a lot of people that they're expecting this very gregarious personality that loves the spotlight and wants attention. And that could not be further from the truth. But I think we all project things onto other people, and we don't even know that we're doing it until the experience with them isn't aligning with our expectation. And then
Mhm.
we're like, oh, I guess I was projecting that and I'm wrong. And I wonder what else I'm wrong about. So I don't mind getting people to think that way, that
Mhm.
maybe what you perceive to be the personality behind someone who is in the public eye isn't reality.
Absolutely. Yeah. That must happen all the time. And you're great about putting yourself out there, but then also like,
Retreating.
this is who I really am. Yeah. So introverted, more
Mhm.
likely, enjoys time at home, but you're also such a good connector. So when you do connect, it's very thoughtful and intentional. What are your goals for the next, pick any amount of time, 5 years,
Mm.
10 years for your brands? And you have several brands. So what would your goals be for those?
So I love that question because it's a question I always love to ask business owners. When people do come and work with Buck and I at Omnitizing, we sit down with them for 2.5 hours. We call it a psychiatric intake of your brand.
Mhm.
And we try to figure out things like, where do you want to go? Where do you make the most profit? What do you love doing the most? What do you sell the most? So these kinds of questions are really important. And I don't always ask myself them. So thanks for putting me on the spot publicly
Yeah.
and having me answer that. I think that as we get into 2026, I would love to create Maine Famous. That's kind of going on behind the scenes right now. I'd love to cover the whole state. I'd love to franchise the brand so that there's a New Hampshire Famous and there are other famous locations that don't even have to be in the US. That's my goal today. I know that more things are always being revealed. I don't think I could have imagined I would be sitting on stage in Bar Harbor at this beautiful theater a year ago and being on camera. Like that was something I would have never thought I would do. So I'm trying to stay nimble.
Yes. Yeah. A lot of times we'll set a goal and it gets the excitement flowing, but also staying open to wherever it may take you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It is pretty cool that you were able to land the Criterion Theater
It is really
to
cool.
record this podcast, a historical theater in downtown Bar Harbor.
Mhm.
And I know later in the season, we'll be interviewing Allison Sullins, who's the acting director at the moment of this theater. And that it just speaks to how you do what you do. You don't have to do anything. You say, I want to do a podcast, I want it to be high quality, and then you land a location like this. So very symbolic to be sitting here with you.
Yeah.
You have achieved so much in the past few years, and it's very inspiring to me because I see how you do it and how much heart you put into it and how much work goes into it. What is an achievement that you're especially proud of?
I'm going to answer that question in two ways. For me, I think something that's important that a lot of people don't know is my son just graduated from high school. And so I have spent the last 18 years with him as my number one priority. And that means I am schlepping him around town. I'm going to his extracurricular things, his friends' things, back and forth to the gym. He has been the center of my universe. So even though I have held roles in companies and I have started my own branding and marketing company that has been successful, I've always built everything around him. And with him, he's turned out to be everything that I could have wanted in a son and so much more. So he's actually my number one achievement. And I think it's also worth calling out that I've been sober for many years at this point in my life. I'm divorced and remarried, very happily remarried. But I had this very challenging set of years for myself. And without the support of a recovery community, there's no way that I would be sitting here in this theater with you, talking to you, serving small businesses the way that I am. And I think in terms of my professional achievements, like I am so excited that we reached 10,000 followers on the Camden Famous Instagram. I'm really excited when I see that we get 6,000 website visitors to camdenfamous.com. I'm excited to see how quickly I am able to replicate the success of Camden Famous here in the Down East region. All of those things are really exciting to me, but it's truly the small businesses that I talk to after we have featured them either on our podcast, in our book, at a market that we host, on our social channels, and they come back and they tell me, I made $5,000 at that market. I sold out of that thing that you said I was famous for. This was the busiest day at our restaurant the day after you put us on Camden Famous. Those are the kinds of wins that really, really light me up professionally and keep me going forward with this brand with all the momentum that I have put into being a mom for the last 18 years and being a business owner. All of that is going to go towards what I'm building with these famous brands. And I hope that in 5 years that we have Maine Famous up and running. I hope that we have a lot of really talented contractors, which I've already attracted a lot of them. I've been incredibly fortunate. One of them is Gardner, who's our production manager right now for this podcast. And so I hope to add to Maine's economy. And then I hope to bring this brand across the country and to really lift up the creatives that don't always get the recognition and pay that they deserve.
A++ for that answer. Major accomplishments in all areas of your life. And I'm so happy for you and proud of you as a friend. It's really incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah. All right. Well, I am so excited to get out of the hot seat and put you in the hot seat
I'm
now.
ready.
And so for people who don't know you, Jena is a hospitality entrepreneur, as I mentioned at the beginning of the episode. She has 5 to 7 businesses that she's running.
Yeah.
She is the board chair for the Bar Harbor Food Pantry. You have 4 daughters. You're a certified coach. You're finishing up your 2nd season of your own podcast, Elevated Leadership. And you're doing this with me. Please explain.
Explanation required. It's really interesting to hear you say all of that. When you say it all at once, it sounds like so much. And it doesn't feel like so much because it's very fulfilling what I'm doing in my own businesses, how I'm helping other leaders. Leadership has become a huge passion for me. So anytime I'm talking about that, it's giving me, it's like creating time and energy for me. So yeah, to hear you say that is wild. But basically, I consider myself a hospitality entrepreneur, and I am a certified professional coach, and that serves my team really well, but I also help other teams with leadership. And then being a mom is a huge focus for me, especially right now. Our youngest are 15 and 8,
Mm.
and it's incredible ages, all girls. We have so
Mhm.
much fun. But to hear you list that off, I think, wait, that is so much. And I have days where it is too much, to be very honest. But when I get opportunities like this, being on the Down East Famous podcast, how can I pass it up? Because it aligns with my values, it aligns with what I care about. It's collaborating with really cool people. And so I somehow don't feel drained by this very busy life.
That's amazing. I don't know anyone like you.
Wow.
And I am so honored that you're part of this podcast. And I do want to ask you some questions the way we would ask questions of our guests this season.
Okay.
So can you tell me how you got to Bar Harbor? I think it's so important to let people know the connection that business leaders and residents have to this place, because it's not any town, Maine. It's
Mhm.
Bar Harbor. And I know that Acadia National Park is one of the most visited parks in the country. So what drew you here and what keeps you here?
Yes, I did not grow up here. I am so fortunate that I had a cousin who lived in Bar Harbor. And every summer, my parents would send me up and I would go to summer camp at Summer Festival of the Arts, which is an arts camp here. And I loved it. And that became a part of my summer tradition. I would come up for a few weeks. We would go to camp. And as I grew up and I was no longer in summer camps, my mom suggested that I come up and start working in the summer. So this was always the place throughout my whole life that I would come and kind of grow up here on the streets of Bar Harbor. It's such a safe town and we had so much freedom and it was just incredible. So then I would work here. And after I graduated from college, I thought, well, I have to go do one more summer in Bar Harbor. I mean, it's what I do. And I came and I ended up staying. I met a guy. I had a job offer. Life just fell into place. And as it did, I realized that this is really where I wanted to be. This was my home. And I worked for a few different businesses before realizing that I was meant to be self-employed. And now I own our largest business is Side Street Café.
Mm-hmm.
So I opened that when I was 26 years old. I was also pregnant. And I didn't know what I didn't know. I had no idea how challenging owning a business would be and also how rewarding and challenging being a mother would be. But I did them both at the same time and learned a lot. It really grew me up quickly. But that's really the story of spending my summers and evolving into being a business owner here in Bar Harbor.
And now you have just kept on adding businesses to Side Street over the last 17 years?
It's true. This is our 17th summer. Side Street is the largest and the longest standing business, but we have opened other businesses, sometimes with business partners. And that's really a reflection of our team, because if we didn't have a strong team, we would not be trying new things or expanding in any way, because just Side Street alone is a monster, you know? But when you have a really strong team, it's possible to do more, try something new, have new concepts. Some of our past employees are now our business partners, especially at Thrive Juice Bar. Megan Williams was a former employee who we loved working with so much, and now she's our business partner.
That's amazing. And would you say that it's your teams has that been the through line to your success with all of these different businesses? And if it's not just the teams, what else is it?
Yes, it's very much the teams. I was overwhelmed running Side Street Cafe as an operator and an owner. And that's a lot of what I talk about on my podcast, which I'm sure we'll talk about, is this idea of being completely overwhelmed as a business owner. And when I began to learn how to lead better and create a stronger team to support the vision, then we could grow. And it lights them up, which then lights me up. The other through line on top of working with amazing people is that we established what the values of our business were, I don't know, maybe like 7 years ago. And from that, we make all of our decisions based on those values, which are to act with integrity, to communicate with clarity, and to keep growing. And it doesn't always mean keep growing with like more, but like keep growing with our mindset, with our understanding, with our skills. If we hire people who align with those values, everything runs so smoothly. Everything is so seamless. So that is really the through line, is our values attract the right people for us, and then we're able to build with them.
I'd love to hear how your approach to leadership has evolved over time, leading all these teams.
Yeah. I was not a very good leader at all in the beginning. I was so overwhelmed. I tried to do everything myself. And I had a really rough go of it. We had a lot of people. It was hard to retain people because I was struggling so much to be a good leader, and I would take things out on them. I'm not proud to say it, but I am proud to say it because I recognized it and realized that everything was rolling downhill from me, that I needed to address myself and be a better leader to myself before I could ever even dream of being a good leader to other people. And when I was able to do that work, it just made me better in life. I'm a better parent, I'm a better friend, I'm a better everything, but definitely a better leader. And I attract amazing people to work with because they like the way that they're treated by me.
And at what point did you decide, hey, I'm going to go get certified as a coach? Like, I love leadership so much.
Yeah.
I want to be able to do this professionally with other people.
Yeah. I very much have a drive to continue to grow and learn. And I saw becoming a certified professional coach, which you can do in many different ways. Of course, I did the most extreme, the hardest, the longest program, the most expensive program, because that's how I do things. And I don't regret it at all. And a huge drive for me was because I wanted to shift from managing our staff to coaching them. Not all of them. I mean, some situations do require management. But when it came to our leadership team, I wanted to be more of a coach to them because that's what they deserved. And that was the level that they required. They didn't need me to manage them. They needed me to show up as a coach. So helpful. So I justified the cost in the time and the money by I'm investing this back into our teams. Then I realized I actually love to talk about this with anyone. I love to sit with teams and give them a common vocabulary, talk about their goals, look at what's blocking them as a team or as individual leaders. So the drive really was like, I just want to be the best version of myself. And I saw that as a path there. And now I'm seeing different ways that I can plug it in. You know, doing the podcast is so fun and I'm seeing where it goes. Some years I'm very focused on our teams. Some years I'm hired by many other teams. So I'm flowing with it.
So you're training other people, you're training other businesses, you're training your own team, you have the podcast. Where do you see this going in the next 5 years?
I have no problem. This is actually a leadership skill. When I'm not sure, saying I'm not sure, I am very open to where I'm most needed and where it leads. And I love the idea of knowing, 5 years from now, I want to be here. And I actually don't know. A few things that I am sure of is that I want to do everything I do in line with my values. And if it ever gets to the point where I can't act with integrity or communicate clearly or keep growing, then I know I've gone too far or it's not the right fit. But I'm in a really interesting time in life for that question because I'm just open to opportunities. If someone contacts me, I explore it. You reach out about doing this podcast, I explore it. And so I'm in a very explorative phase as long as I can be there for my family and be there for my businesses and feel proud of how I'm showing up. I'm game for anything.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It's a good place to be. It's kind of weird. It's a weird place to be, but it's a good place to be.
I want to talk some more about elevated leadership. I personally love the podcast. I've talked to many other people in my sphere to share about the podcast. People have already known about your podcast. My sister is in leadership at a hospital system in Bangor, and she's like, I can't believe you get to work with Jena Young. I love her podcast. And so I want to share with people where they can listen to you, but where they should start. So you're in your second season now. How many episodes per season do you create?
Last season, there were 14. And this season, I think there will be about the same. I'm just wrapping up the second season right now. And great question about where to start. It has been such an evolution where my first episode, I was quite nervous, but it's worth listening because I think you see the evolution and that really is the place to start. Although they're all evergreen and they can all stand alone. So I like to tell people you can start at the beginning or you can scroll through and just find one that speaks to you and you think, oh, that's a topic I'm actually very interested in. One of the things I love about this season is the episodes are pretty short. They'll be 20 to 30 minutes. I have people tell me that they re-listen to them because I put so much impact in a short amount of time. I'm talking to leaders who are busy and they're smart and they don't need a lot of fluff. And I would love for people to listen and see the evolution of where I've gone. In season 2, I kind of got in my head and thought, well, a podcast is supposed to be an hour and it should be like this and it should look like that. And now I'm doing what feels right intuitively. And I'm hearing that people love that. So that feels really good. Yeah, scroll through, find one that you like. Or if you do go back to the beginning, you're going to go on the journey that I went on to get there. So it's kind of fun.
So do you have a favorite one then? You might not.
Oh, well, the one that people bring up, there are a couple that people bring up to me the most. And so inherently, I feel like they had the most influence and impact. One is in season 1. I have an episode on being a leader who struggles with people pleasing. Many people tell me they listen to that several times. This season, I have one on delegating well, and it's very clear, step by step. This is what you need to do in order to delegate effectively. And it's more than just telling someone to do something and then getting mad that they didn't do it the way that you wanted them to. And then the other one I get comments on all the time is a recent one, and it's 5 mindset shifts that every leader should make. And those are the ones that seem to hit the mark the most. So that might be a good place to start as well.
Amazing. I mean, there's just a nugget. There's at least one nugget that I want to write down the quote that you said and put it on my wall. But there are deeper lessons within what you teach as well. And I do consider your podcast, you're teaching.
Yes.
And can people work with you one-on-one? So if there is a business leader in Southern Maine and they say, I just love what Jena is doing and how can I work with her?
One-on-one coaching. So the way to work with me for one-on-one coaching is I actually work with teams. Okay. And from that team, I'll do one-on-one with people. But I phased out doing solo one-on-one coaching in the past year. And I love the idea of having more impact with a group who can then hold each other accountable, work together. And from that, someone may be identified as someone who they'd like to have one-on-one coaching with. And I love to do that too.
So I just enjoyed listening to your podcast episodes. And when I met you and we connected right away, and I invited you to be part of the season, and you accepted to co-host all 10 episodes, which I am so grateful for and excited about. And then you and I have together curated that list of who is going to be on for the season. And I would love for you to share, in your opinion, what makes a great guest. How did we arrive at some of the people that we have on?
We did our best. I think we really actually succeeded in choosing people who have a very interesting story and they're great at telling that story. And that was the key. And someone who will want to share that they were on this podcast and that they enjoyed it and have that collaboration in sharing it out with the world. Those seem to be the 3 main keys. We're interviewing people who I don't know, but I know that they have an interesting story. And I am excited to hear it. So this isn't necessarily like Jena's besties coming onto the podcast. This was really people who I know have a reputation. They're admired. They're exciting and interesting. They built something incredible. Would you say? Is that really what we were looking for when we did this?
I mean, I think we wanted people who were iconic to the area, people who were beloved in the community, and people that knew how to talk about their business and still had a lot of excitement, because there's plenty of people who have been running their business for a long time and they're burnt out.
Absolutely.
Burnt out. And we are not bringing on burnt out people. They're very young and alive with their business, even if they're not super young by birthdays.
Absolutely. The other piece is that there are a lot of people who we would still want on. You know, we didn't exhaust the list, but these were the people who worked out on these dates and it fell into place and we went with the flow of it. But there are plenty of people who I think, if we ever did this again, we would need to get so-and-so on here. So,
well, fingers crossed. We do definitely do this again. And is there anything that you're hoping that people take away from this season?
Yeah. Businesses in Maine have it pretty tough. I mean, there's so much beauty and there's so much goodness. I'm not trying to be a victim about it, but I would love for listeners to hear more about the heart and everything that's behind the business and not just look at it and say, oh, that's a business. All they care about is this. No, I mean, these businesses were built from the ground up or they're longstanding and they're, sustaining throughout challenges. So for people to hear the humans behind these brands, I'm excited for that. I think everyone can benefit from hearing that.
I think it's really important what we're doing because there are huge publications out there like Travel and Leisure and Condé Nast that come in and they're like, hey, this is what you need to do in Bar Harbor. Let us tell you, we're from New York City and this is what you should do. And this is what you should experience. And not only are you a local here who has run a really successful set of businesses in Bar Harbor, but we're bringing people on so that they can tell their story in their own words, not having someone else who doesn't understand and appreciate the everything here say, this is what you need to know about that business. I went there and I know.
Yes. I'm so excited. This is going to be a great season. So I appreciate being a part of it and we'll see what happens. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. This has been a great first episode. I hope everyone enjoyed getting to know us a little bit better. If you want to follow Jena and her podcast at Elevated Leadership, do you want to tell them where they can go find you online?
Oh, yes. My podcast, Elevated Leadership with Jena Young, is available anywhere that you can find podcasts. And you can also follow me at Elevated Leadership or at Jena Young 2.0.
Great. Thanks so much.
Thank you.